Hello and welcome back to the channel. So now in this video I bring you this story of an Obasanjo coded speech in South Africa. So I've described it as an Obasanjo coded speech. So I'll read you the story and then we'll discuss why it can possibly or might possibly be a coded speech. So Obasanjo tells youth to snatch power from aging leaders. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo says young rising political stars can only wrestle power from aging leaders successfully if they join forces during elections. Obasanjo stated this in Johannesburg on Wednesday, March 29, at the launch of a book, Democracy Works: Rewiring Politics to Africa's Advantage, which he co-authored. Obasanjo, a former military ruler in 1976 and then a civilian leader from 1999 to 2007, told the media that African countries were making progress towards democracy, but much more remains to be done. Africa will get to where it needs to be, he predicted. 30 years ago, elections were an aberration in Africa. Today, no election is an aberration, he said in an interview. Those rulers who want to remain in power, they still go through some form of election. It is what somebody called autocratic competitiveness. They are still autocratic, but they try to show that they are competitive through elections. But Zambian opposition leader, and I am not going to attempt his name, said that despite democratic progress registered elsewhere on the continent, some country in Southern Africa were still backwards. He says, "We have a re-emergence of authoritarian regimes and there is a regression in the democratic space in our region. We need to reverse this very quickly," he told the media, mentioning Zimbabwe and his own country as examples. Obasanjo, 82, also urged young and upcoming African politicians to get their act together if they are to unseat old African leaders, many of them septuagenarians and octogenarians who have been holding on to power for decades through elections. If the youth think they will get into power on a platter, they are not getting it right, he said in the interview. They will have to snatch it. Those aging politicians will not let it go. Now, this is what the former Liberian president had to say, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who also spoke at the event, said Africa had come a long way, but there's still room for improvement, she bemoans. The recycling of old leaders is a problem, she identified. The trio of Kingsley Moghalu, Fela Durotoye, and Omoyele Sowore had failed in their attempt to field a young candidate in the 2019 Nigerian presidential election. So this is what Obasanjo had to say to the young and upcoming and aspiring politician, that power is never going to be handed on to you. You have to wrestle it from the hands of these chancers that we have in power. Because if you look at the Nigerian space, then you would see exactly what he's saying. So you had Malam Buhari, a man of 80-something, and contending for power with Atiku Abubakar, a man in his early to mid 70s. So now you have a 80-something-year-old man contending with a 70-something-year-old man to chart and define the direction of travel of a country whose average population ages at around 20 thereabout. 18 to 20 is the average age in Nigeria. So now you can see the disparity. These are people that are like about 400 400% half their age, because if an 80-something-year-old man and a 20-something-year-old man, that's 400%, isn't it? So you can see the dichotomy. They don't even exist within the same space, never mind in the same planet, and the journey of travel is completely different, and there's no convergence there. But yet these people, they want to rest on and hold on to power, because that's the only thing they know, and that's the only thing they want, and that's the only thing that keeps them alive and relevant, and they just cling on. So what Obasanjo is effectively saying is, look, boys, if you ever think that all this going around media and blowing grammar and going on Instagram and making noise on Facebook and YouTube, etc., is ever going to change anything, then they are just a bunch of idiots. You have to confront these people frontally, and you have to be organized in your approach. That is effectively what is being said here. And I, for one, agree, because the bickering between the Mogalus and the Showores, I'm going to discount Fela Duroto here, because I'm not sure why anybody really continues to add his name to this setup. He's not part of this setup, really. He's just some idiot, so I'm going to discount him. I'm going to discount him, and I'm just going to hold on to Omoyele Sowore and Kingsley Moghalu, who were the real true frontrunners of the movement that took place in the last election. So if there had been a convergence of mind between these people and a strategizing of brains, if they had been able to set their egos aside and bring their brains together, perhaps they would have had more impact. That's not to say that either of them or any of them would have won the presidency. No, because the presidency in Nigeria is not won at the ballot box. They just write figures and they announce it. So we know that. But then they would have had a greater impact than they had individually had they acted collectively. But who would have yielded? Because the egos of Kingsley Moghalu and Omoyele Sowore are as big as each other, and neither of them would yield to the other, and that really was where that negotiation needed to take place. So you needed an intermediary, somebody of robustness and respect, that would have been able to guide the two of them to an understanding, so that we would have then have had one umbrella with these two marquee names leading the charge. So that did not happen, but that really is what Obasanjo is hinting at in his speech. So there you have it. President Olusegun Obasanjo at it again with his noise. Now, a lot of you would say a lot of the things that Obasanjo is saying is empty noise, because I know that there's a lot of anti-Obasanjo sentiments all over the place. I mean, and for good reasons and for bad reasons. I myself, I am not opposed to President Obasanjo, because I feel President Obasanjo, along with Goodluck Jonathan and 10% of not Buhari, 10% of Babangida are really the only three instances of the green shoots of governance that we've had in Nigeria. Because under Obasanjo, the Nigerian debt was cleared, the social media space was opened up, and the electricity roadmap was charted, which is the template that they are still following till today. And under Goodluck Jonathan, there was a lot of infrastructural development. Even Fashola, the Minister of Works, Transport and whatever, said that in the history of Nigeria, and this is a matter of public record, by the way, so you don't have to take my word for it, this is what Fashola of APC said, that in the history of Nigeria, President Goodluck Jonathan built the most roads out of all of the presidents of Nigeria since independence. So this is what Fashola said. So you can take his word if you can't take mine, because he has the statistics to make that assertion. So if he's saying that, then we have to take that. President Goodluck Jonathan built the Kano to Abuja railway. President Goodluck Jonathan built the light rail travel system in Abuja, and all of these things. That guy did a lot. That guy is probably one of the best presidents we've ever had in Nigeria. I know you like to shout corruption, because a lot of idiots just follow that tagline. Corruption. They stole 30 billion, 30 billion in one day. All this nonsense that we hear, and you're taking the word of people like Osho Mole, who is a born moron. Anyway, let me not go down that tangent because I could really get quite furious on this video if I go down that line, and it could get quite aggressive suddenly because that really annoys me. But yes, what President Obasanjo is effectively saying is you have to find a way to charge at this guy, maybe not physically because they outnumber you. If you want to go down the physical road, they just gun you down or jail you, but you have to charge at them intellectually and find the intellectual rigor and window to embarrass, to force, to shame, to humiliate, to force down and impose upon these people. Whatever way, you have to find a convergence of young minds to force these people out, and that is really the only way. But if you are thinking, oh, you go on television and you go on social media and show how much you can speak English and make all this empty noise is empty noise. There's been a lot of empty noise in Nigeria. We have a Nobel laureate, Wole Soyinka. We have Chinua Achebe. So there's a lot of people that can speak a lot of grammar in Nigeria. Speaking grammar is not our problem. It's not what we are looking for in Nigeria. It's solutions that we're looking for in Nigeria, and that solution is forcing these people down through your intellect. That is effectively the pathway that President Obasanjo is describing, and I, for one, I agree with that, because forever and a day, because don't make any mistakes. If Buhari ever steps down, which he will because he has to, who is going to replace him is going to be Tinubu, because Tinubu has been preparing himself for the last 15-20 years for that position, and he's been organizing for that position. And how old will Tinubu be? Even Tinubu is already 70 something, no, but let's even go by his affidavit age, where he's claiming that he's 67 now. By 4 years time he will be 71, isn't he? So then you have a 70 something year old president again ruling the same demography, which will probably be younger, because Nigerians give birth at an alarming rate. So you see, if the young people ever want to get that country back, then there needs to be a convergence of mind to identify the way to force these people out. And I'm not saying force them out by physical means, but to intellectually force them out. So we need to have a convergence of thinking to intellectually defeat these people and then defeat them in actual terms. So this is really the point of travel. This is the direct of travel that Obasanjo is hinting at, and this is one that I align myself to, because this makes infinite sense. So what sense do you make of all of this rambling that I've been rambling on for a good few minutes? Let's have conversations around rambling, the way forward, and young people in Nigeria. But before we go have that conversation, click on the red subscribe button so it goes gray. Click on the bell button as well so you are notified as soon as I drop a new video. Once you've done those two things, come join me in the comment section where we can push this conversation to its limits. So I'll leave you here, meet you in the comment section, but for now I'll say peace.